in TV land? It's your boy Freelancer Joe, and it is once again time of the week for a Drinks with Joe. Yes, the time of the week when we knock back a couple of adult beverages, or adult beverages in my case, and I would presume adult beverages in your case if you are of legal age. I would never encourage underage drinking. Actually, I probably shouldn't encourage legal age drinking either, since, again, alcohol is technically a poison, but you know, if you're able to do it in a responsible manner, go for it. But yeah, this is the time of the week when we have a drink and we review the week, recap, think back about what happened, try to identify what went right, and try to identify what, if anything, went wrong. I suppose if anything went right too. And so we'll apply those lessons to next week, as well as also kind of plan out what we're going to try to do next week, because as Freelancer Joe always likes to say, as I always like to say, if you want to get somewhere specific, it helps to pay attention to where you've been. So, having said that, I will go ahead and pour myself said drink. And yeah, I'm still working on the vodka. I don't think, man, you'd think I would be able to like knock this out. I could, but again, the whole drinking responsibly thing. So, but how are y'all doing on this fine and wonderful and glorious Saturday afternoon? Yeah, it's Saturday, so of course it's going to be good, and it's fine and wonderful because we're here together. Weather-wise, meh. It's not so bad. It's not so great, but it's not so bad either. What do we got? We got mostly cloudy, a little warm, a little humid. It's not a wonderful weather day, but you know, it's another day, and each day is full of great and wonderful things. I was just checking my notes. Now, well, I made all that big hubbaloo, I think that's how you pronounce it, about, you know, paying attention to what happened the last week to help the next week, but that's what I'm supposed to do. And I say supposed to because last week I didn't do that when the Drinks with Joe episode. Instead, last week I spent the entire episode gushing about Avengers Endgame. So we're probably not going to do that this episode, because I have regained my emotional composure after that tremendous ride. I mean, the movie itself was a ride, of course, but then as the culmination of over 10 years worth of movies and 21, 22 movies, it's it was understandable that it kind of knocked me off balance for just a little bit. I'm actually checking right now to see what their box office predictions are for this weekend. Let me see. Box Office Mojo, what's it say? 150 million. Okay. 150 million plus. Alright. I mean, if it does break 150 million plus, apparently that will take the record from Star Wars The Force Awakens, which had 149.2 million for a second weekend. I'm trying to think. Did I guess it's understandable why The Force Awakens did so well. I mean, you had that lapse between the Star Wars prequels and The Force Awakens, and it was poised to be more of a return to form, if you will. What did I think of The Force Awakens? I think I'll watch it twice, actually. I watched it once in the theater, and then I watched it once on digital when I got it. It was alright. I liked it better than any of the prequels, really. But I'm not going to say it was enough to get me back on board the Star Wars train. Speaking of which, since today is May 4th, May the 4th be with you, if you're into that sort of thing. To think I might have been into that many, many, many years ago. Oh well. Oh well. Let me see. Okay, so we got the drink. We got why we do this. Have I already asked how you doing? Well, you know what? I'll ask again. I mean, if you're not sure if you asked a question, there's no thing. Go ahead and ask it again. How y'all doing? Yeah, I did ask it, but I'm assuming the answer is good and great and wonderful and awesome and fantastic. And then we started talking about Endgame again, and then we looked at the box office. Don't ask me. Okay, it just really caught me. I'm okay. I have my emotional composure, but I'm still reveling in it. Now, since it's been a full week, I guess we can go ahead and do spoilers a little bit. As far as send-offs go, I guess it makes sense that Iron Man had to die. And that's probably what most people consider to be the big one. And to be fair, I mean, Robert Downey Jr., he's done his done his duty. Marvel took a chance on him 10 years ago, and he's done fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So his send-off, yeah. I mean, I guess some people would kind of be against it, and maybe I think I read somewhere that RDJ wasn't exactly on board with it at first, or at least it wasn't probably what he was thinking was going to happen either. But I think it's appropriate. And then, of course, in Marvel Universe anyway, well, it is a comic book movie, so in theory they could always bring him back. Always. No, it's a comic book movie. They could always bring him back. But to be fair, I would say, give him a break. Give him the rest that he needs. He should have. So that's the big send-off. And then the second big send-off was, of course, Captain America. Basically stepping down from his duty and living a life in the past. How do I feel about that? Well, next to Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, his Captain America those two have been like the pillars of the Marvel Universe. So, yeah, I guess it's time for them. All things must end. And for them to go out on this particular note, I think is really, really good. So, yeah, there's that. It's a shame, though. I don't particularly agree with many of the actor's opinions, but his portrayal as Captain America was just fantastic. I mean, when you think Captain America, you just think Chris Evans. Just like when you think Iron Man, you're going to automatically picture Robert Downey Jr. So they definitely nailed it. And then there was, however, a third character ending, which was Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. That one definitely wasn't registering on the radar as a possibility, although when she and Hawkeye ended up going to Vormir for the Soul Stone, it's like, okay, well, a soul for a soul, so yeah, you gotta figure somebody was going down. And logically, it all kind of makes sense. I mean, why she would fight just a little bit harder for it. On the one hand, sure, Hawkeye lost his family, so he could feel that he really didn't have much going for him. Plus, he didn't want Black Widow to be the one that dies. But then, her relationship with him would be that he was the one that gave her the chance to wipe out the debt in her ledger. And if their plan succeeded, he would have his family back. And yeah, and she didn't want him to die either, so I guess her motivation felt stronger, which makes sense then why she would be the one that would ultimately be able to do it. But yeah, that was pretty rough. Although, I don't know, I think it's almost on par there with what Thanos did to Gamora for getting the Soul Stone. Some people don't like that. But I could definitely see it, or how that played out. About the only thing that wasn't so well played out was basically how long it took Gamora to figure out what was going on. But then you can kind of brush that aside simply by her hatred for the man, or the Titan, I should say. He's assuming he's a masculine, the male form of his species. It'd be interesting if he was the female form of his species, and then the masculine form would be even more intimidating. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, those are the big send-offs. Now, my big worry, not worry, concern, quite simple, not concern. I'm not sure how they're going to go forward. I mean, they're obviously going to try because they're making lots of money, and they have plans. But so much of those plans that worked before rested upon how the actors became embodiments of the characters and what they represented to the universe. And so, with Robert Downey Jr. embodying Iron Man and Evans embodying Captain America, and those two being the pillars, basically the heart and soul of the entire thing. Well, I would say, for me, Captain America was the heart and soul. But Iron Man was like that spark, that passion that got it all going and kept it going. Now, but if you look at the roster as they have it now, I mean, the most successful one is Black Panther, money-wise. But the character itself, however, his focus should naturally be Wakanda, because he is the king of Wakanda. I mean, he'll help other people because he's a good guy, but again, his focus would be Wakanda. But you could see both Cap and Iron Man, their motivations for really just helping everyone. Which is rather funny when you think about it, because Captain America, you'd think he'd be focused on America, but it's just the way Evans portrayed the character, that he just cared about doing the right thing. And if they make that pivot for T'Challa, Black Panther, that might actually hurt his overall popularity with the core demographic that likes Black Panther. I mean, I'm not going to go so far as to say appropriation, but I could see some people thinking that way. Now, Panther would be, the box office wise, the most obvious choice to carry on as as a pillar, but that's where I see an issue with that. And okay, so the other one, and the one that they clearly trying to set up, is Captain Marvel. Maybe it'll work, but I just gotta say straight up, I just do not like the character at all. My issue with that character, quite simply, is that I don't think she really cares about anybody. I mean, maybe she does, but I don't think she cares about people in general. I don't think she necessarily cares about doing the right thing. At least from the way I've seen it. I mean, the reason she does things is because some man told her she couldn't do it. It's like, okay, I don't know how you're going to build a team dynamic on that one, but okay, I guess, I don't know. But, I mean, the thing is, Marvel's had made missteps before, but they've always been able to course correct. That said, there are some things that you can't course correct from, and as I said earlier, all good things must come to an end, so it's possible that even the Marvel Universe might not carry on. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, sure, they have those particular issues, but with the acquisition of Fox Studios, and then they have the X-Men back in the fold, maybe they'll pull it off. Maybe they'll pull it off. I'm not necessarily excited to see where it's going to go, but I'd give it a shot anyway. But we are about at the 15-minute mark, so I am going to break for the intermission, and we'll be back in 10 seconds. Alright, and we are back. We are back. How'd you like the meme? I'm looking at it right now. It's a good meme. I didn't find any, again, the meme searching, I wasn't able to find a good vein of spicy memes. So it's a little disappointing, but I mean, I did like that one, or this one. That one, the one you probably just saw, this one, the one I'm looking at right now, because that is one happy looking dog. And also a well-fed dog, too, from the looks of it. But speaking of well-fed, that is a perfect segue into the health segment of Drinks with Joe, which is when we talk about health-related item. Okay, yeah, the vodka is kind of kicking in. And when we talk about health-related activities, for me, and presumably you're free to talk about health-related activities too. Just pretend that I'm listening while I'm talking. That's the way to go. So health is broken down into two things, generally speaking. We've got training, and then we've got diet and weight. Now, training was good. Training is real good. So I did. This is an interesting point. It was a bit of a hiccup because Sunday I did not do any training. So I was looking at like only doing 4 out of my actual 5 training sessions this week. But on Tuesday, I went ahead and made up that session. Tuesday is normally supposed to be that rest day, but I was feeling pretty. Feeling pretty froggy, and plus the Sunday session that I made up on Tuesday actually isn't that difficult, to be honest. So it worked out really well. The overall pattern for the week was that I increased the weights incrementally, just a little bit on all my exercises, and of course I dropped the number of repetitions, and there were no real issues. I was able to accomplish everything I set out to accomplish, and I should be good for next week when I bump up the number of reps by 1 with this increased weight. So that's looking real good. I don't think I need to change any of my activities for now. And no nagging injuries, or well, no aggravation, I guess I should say. Back and knee is still a little dodgy, but they've seemed to have actually gotten better this week, and I actually suspect that the training isn't so much the issue. The training, it could be an issue if I did it improperly, in which case it could aggravate said injury, but I think the big thing is actually at work I have a standing desk, and I didn't spend quite as much time standing at work. I took more frequent breaks from standing to sitting, and I think that really helps, because I favor my right leg, so since it's the right knee, that makes sense, and that would kind of aggravate it some more, and then just having to support yourself straight up all day or for long periods of day is gonna do a number on your back. So overall, that is pretty good. I really want to try and finish off this vodka. Interesting. I mean, well, we could talk about that later. I was going to comment upon one of the reasons I wanted to wrap up the vodka was because it seemed like I was getting the hangover before I got any buzz at all. And yet today, it's not feeling that way. It feels like I'm actually getting a little bit of a buzz. So, I suspect that's actually related to my diet, which of course is now a naturally good segue to go into the diet and weight portion of the health section. And well, so the weight wasn't so good. Technically, it wasn't a wash this week because I did end to end from last week. I still managed to lose some weight, not a lot, but a little bit. But that uptick from last weekend was horrible. I mean, just absolutely horrible. And I should actually probably be like 5 pounds below where I'm at right now when you consider how long it's been since I resumed training after the deviation in my schedule. So I don't want to say, well, I don't want to say that I really need to buckle down, but I mean, I really need to buckle down. This is an unfortunate truth, and while truths may be hard to look at, they're still truths. So, of course, that means having to restrain myself today and tomorrow, since my cheat meal was yesterday. But I think I'm actually gonna. No, I'm definitely not gonna do one of the mistakes I did last weekend. Last weekend on Saturday, I actually ordered out again for a Chipotle burrito. But today, that's not happening because I've got something cooking in the crock pot right now. It's been cooking since 8 o'clock this morning. So, it's almost done. About an hour or two, and I'll have some good foods. So, I'm thinking that this weekend should be much more restrained. That said, then again, next weekend could be a problem because I will be recording at a secret undisclosed location. So, that just kind of puts added impetus on making sure that I don't blow it this weekend. Alright, but that's the health section. Of course, as much as I complain and kvetch, not complain, as much as I emit negativity about my weight in particular, I'm still much better than where I've been. So, I don't want it to come across as if I'm like obsessed with it. Although in a way I am, because it takes a lot of work. It took a lot of work, and it takes a lot of work. I know I make it look easy, looking this good. And part of it is too. I mean, it's just in the genes. But to really bring it all out and make it all come together, that takes some effort. Alright, so how are we doing? Okay. Next is work. That is the next subject we cover in Drinks with Joe. The next subject that we're supposed to cover. We're not supposed to... Well, there are 3 areas that I like to cover, or that I plan on covering, I should say. But really, is that really the point of these things? I'd almost say it's like a secondary purpose. I mean, the real purpose is, just to have a chat with you all. So that you can get a feel for the kind of person I am. And also to prove that I can speak English. Maybe not speak English particularly well, but speak English. Is it more important to speak English or write English? Probably speak. Verbal communication, I think, is the big thing. This is true, because even if somebody isn't literate, they probably still can speak. Alright. Next is work. So work this week was good. I believe I mentioned that I had been working on some fairly challenging, if not particularly useful issues. Let me rephrase that. The issues I'm working are very, very important for a subset of users. A subset of potential users, I should say. And I will just leave it at that. However, the vast majority of users are not going to require this particular solution to be implemented. So it's it's one or the other. It's like it's not the biggest bang for the buck, I think, but it's a well-spent dollar, I guess, is one way to put it. Anyway, I have made progress, significant progress actually, on those challenges, and I've actually cleared what I believe to be the biggest hurdle. So the way I generally work is that when I'm given something to tackle, I kind of do an initial evaluation of it. And one of the things I've tried to identify as early as possible is that, are there things that I'm not sure can be done? Are there unknowns? And those are the things you really want to tackle head on at first, because you don't want to do everything else and then get to the very end and realize that, hey, it just can't be done. So if you can kind of think through and look at things and then see that I'm not sure if that can even be done, then you go deal with that first. And so that's what I spent this week working on, and I think I got it all sorted out. Now, whether or not it is optimal is debatable. Whether or not I might be told to try a different route that might still happen too, but at least I'm able to offer a solution, and that's the most important thing. It's one thing to say I couldn't come up with anything, it's another thing to say I have something. It may not be what you like, but it solves the problem that you want it solved. Well, it's very much like truth. You can't ignore it. You can ignore truth, but even if it hurts, the truth is the truth. Let me see. So, other than that, though, not much else going on. Still loving the commute, of course. Oh, so love that commute. 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, 20 to 25 minutes in the afternoon. It's so nice. And that's, of course, why I've had this reinvigorated push for giving you that sweet, sweet content. How about the only complaint I'm going to have is that it's getting at a time of year where the weather's warming up just a little bit, and it's getting a little bit muggy, and it's a little blech. Yeah. But well, I know it's coming, so I guess I can't. No, I'll still complain about it because it's my thing. Complaining about humidity is Freelancer Joe's things. It's one of his things. Alright, so that's it for work. And then that final. Yeah, okay. It is definitely rolling through the system. And the final topic that we cover in Drinks with Joe is my freelancer activities. So as far as my freelancer activities go, the only thing I've been doing is generating the content for you all, and as you can tell if you've been watching my episodes, and I really hope that you have been, otherwise why am I even recording them? Well, the historical record for future historians, and so they can come back and examine the greatness of my life, and no doubt when they make the next generation of superhero movies far into the future, they'll be able to render my likeness based on these videos. So there's that. So just catching lots of things for posterity, but you should be watching my episodes anyway. So the focus of the episodes this week have been making my demo application presentable for users, with the intention of adding it to the portfolio section on my website. It's not a lot of work. It's little teeny tiny things, but it fills the time. So I've got the basic text field stuff covered. That's the Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie views. And then there is the calendar view. Now there's going to be a limit. I think I've mentioned this when I talked about it in one of my earlier episodes, is that there's going to be a limit on how far I can go on that calendar, or making that calendar portion presentable, or a limit on how far I'm going to go, at least in the interim. I guess if I need to come up with something to do, it's there, but to be honest, there's a bigger issue that needs to be addressed that came up, and I mentioned this before too. Well, all I've mentioned is that there is a bigger issue, and when we get to the point where I can address said bigger issue, that's when I'll address the bigger issue. So I think then for the rest of this week, as far as freelancer goes, yeah, I'll finish off. I was working on the pop-ups versus tooltip, so we'll make the pop-up. We'll finish the pop-ups, and then we'll add basic elements to the calendar portion for the presentability, to raise its presentation value, to improve its presentation, to improve its presentability. I don't think that's a word, but anyway, work on the calendar a little bit, get it to a certain point, and then we can move on to that bigger issue. And that one is actually kind of important. Actually really important. But we're working on one thing, we'll deal with that first, and then we'll move on to the next thing. That said, we've just covered the Freelancer Joe portion, we've covered all three things, and we are about at the 15-minute mark. So, cool kid words about liking and subscribing, commenting, and suggesting. I certainly thank you for joining me for Drinks with Joe. I hope my impairments because of the drinks weren't too distracting, and I certainly hope you enjoyed whatever drinks you've had. So I hope that you have a wonderful rest of this Saturday afternoon and weekend. I hope you join me tomorrow for more freelancer stuff. And until the next time you join me, I hope that you take care and God bless.